Welcome on stage, Archie.
Thank you for the introduction, Manuel, and a good evening to you all. I'm going to start my talk on, okay, I'll wait a little bit. Okay, and well, while they're setting it up, I just want to say you are a peculiar audience because today is a Friday, and well, you could be TGIFing, but you are here, so that says a lot about you. Okay, great. So today I'm going to be giving my talk on how our early life, or may I just phrase it as how the beginning is important in determining the end. So what we know basically, okay, great, thank you. So I'm just going to double back a little bit. So what we know basically is that, well, the beginning of life is important in determining where our health is going to go. So if things are not okay in the beginning, things are not going to be okay in the end. Things are okay in the beginning, hopefully they're going to be okay in the end. So I'm just going to take a little bit back to the 1960s. I don't know if any of you are familiar with this person in the picture there. He's a very famous person, Dr. Martin Luther King. And in 1967, he was standing in front of an audience, maybe just like you, maybe younger. He was at a junior high school, and there he was talking about the imprint, the blueprint of life. And the title of his speech was, "What is the blueprint of life?" And in his speech, he said that what we are doing now, probably what you're doing now, or maybe what you did before you came here, may well determine the way in which your life will go from here on. So, well, he wasn't a scientist at all, but what he said will resonate with what I'm going to be talking about today. So this slide sums up everything that I'm going to be talking about. And, well, if it wasn't for that, I had 10 minutes, if not 11. I was just going to drop the mic and leave the stage, having said everything, because this slide talks about how the beginning, actually the transition from when we are born right up until we get older, like what is happening during there in terms of our health. Well, a little bit about myself. So I'm a scientist, of course, and I work with the brain and the immune system. Well, this is quite something intriguing, as you'll see. Well, that's quite a jawbreaker, right? Like, it's a tongue twister. Even I cannot say it out loud. So I work in the field of okay. I don't know if anyone can actually shout that out. Can anyone say it, spell it out for me? Okay, well, that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, so I work in the field of she said it well. Indeed, it is a tongue twister. So in this field, basically, we're looking at the immune system and the brain as well. So I just want to take us back a little bit as well, going back to the Stone Age. You know, when I arrived to this place, I was busy just going around trying to see if I could get some pebbles, maybe something that I could use in this talk, and unfortunately I couldn't find a single rock. But so let's just imagine maybe you wake up one day, you're taken back to the Stone Age. You know, life is so different from what it is right now. You know, the things that you will experience, the things that you will be exposed to are totally different from today. And when we look, especially at the modern day era, there's so much things that have happened. In fact, our brains have been exposed to different things, our immune system. Well, in the wake of the COVID pandemic, just a few years ago, when the COVID pandemic started, our immune system was challenged by a new pathogen that we had never experienced before. And this is also going to looking at how our social environment has also changed. As you can see mostly in that picture, I think everyone has a cell phone in this room, right? And you were probably looking at it maybe so many times. And that also has an impact on your health as well. But that is not the main focus of my talk today. So I just want to double back again a bit, right to the beginning. So in this talk, I'm somebody who's very curious. I remember growing up, I would go to the village to see my grandfather, my grandmother, and we would sit down by the fire and, away from the city lights. And, when you are in that kind of setting, the night sky just brightens up. And I remember just looking up into the sky, looking at the sky and just wondering, what is all this? What does all this mean? Where did we come from? All these questions were just coming up and ringing up in my head. And when we look in this picture, it's a beautiful picture, by the way. It was taken by the James Webb Space Telescope. And it shows the pillars of creation. Well, when you look at this picture, it looks very simple. Well, it's like a painting, beautiful mosaic. But in this picture, we see stars being created. We see the birth of stars. And also, in the background, some things are also happening there as well. So gases, dust, everything is just swirling and stars are being created. And when you look at it, there seems to be chaos, but in all that chaos, there is order. So it appears there is a balance in the universe for everything. And why I'm taking this analogy is because when we look at the universe and how big it is and everything, we also look at ourselves, and to some extent, when we look at the universe, we also look into ourselves, because there are so many principles of physics that do apply even in biology. So, where does it all begin? This is the question that I ask myself every day. In the lab, I ask myself, where does it all begin? How does the beginning affect how we will progress in life? And how will this affect our health as we grow older? Now, let's talk babies. I know this is something that will resonate with a lot of you, because why? At some point in your life, you were once a baby. And I guess for every one of us, we will take some bits from this. So as a baby is growing up, they're experiencing different types of environments, be it the physical environment, be it the social environment they're living in, be it economic, lifestyle. There's so many things that are happening in the environment they are growing up in. And all this has an impact on how they will grow in terms of even their mental, their brain development, and also even the development of their immune system. So basically, when a child is being nurtured in a loving environment where everything is okay, you would expect that that child will grow up to be a healthy person and not having any other problems, well, in theory. So, but then if we take the reverse, for example, where the child grows up in an environment that is abusive and where they are not being nurtured well, that is actually the root. That is actually where everything starts to go wrong. And then we also find that that child can actually start developing some mental or psychological problems later on in life. So this is part of what I work on. So basically in this slide, we're looking at how all these factors, these negative factors, are affecting the person here. And all this culminates into stress, and what we see is that the person gets depressed, and there's anxiety, and even their actions, they become alcoholic and all those things. But also of interest, we find that not only mental disorders arise, but also diseases such as heart diseases and also diabetes, autoimmune diseases. And the question is, how is all this linked? And how does all this result in us getting sick in the end? So when we look at the immune system, that's when it gets very interesting. And I can tell you for sure that whilst you're sitting here looking at me, your immune cells are busy building up a defense against something that you might have been exposed to. So all this is happening involuntarily, like you don't know what is happening, but it is happening right now. But what is actually happening when you're growing, when you're at the beginning of your life? Your immune system is still young, it's still naive. It hasn't yet been exposed to all these pathogens, to all these things that might actually cause you to get sick. And what we find out is that when you're exposed to a harsh environment, very harsh environment during your early years, this will affect how your immune system even functions. But how is this so? Well, when we look at the baby again, we find out that there is what is known as the DNA, which is the molecule that carries the information about you. That is your blueprint. So what is actually happening here? Well, I brought something here with me that I think will help to bring out what I just want to talk about. So this, I don't know if those are close by. What is this? Oh yes, this is a user manual. Actually, okay, so actually, what happened was I actually asked my wife if I could get her toaster manual, and she said no, because I think you're going to do something to it. So this is what I have. And so what happens is during the early life, when something happens, it's incomplete. So when something happens, it's either some information is lost or else some information is also added. And our cells cannot decode our DNA or our imprint in the correct way. And this actually results in us getting sick. So I put up this beautiful painting that I made just to show how our environment actually influences our health as we grow older, and how all this culminates in us getting sick later on. So in the end, I just want to say that our environment shapes our blueprint, and this happens during early life, and it also determines our health later on in life. So basically, this is all that I had to tell you, and this is also part of what I am working on. So I hope you are inspired, and I haven't used up too much of my time.
Thank you very much.